Have you ever walked down the grocery aisle, seen rows of nuts in shiny packaging and thought you were making a smart, healthy choice by grabbing whichever looked appealing? Many people, especially those over 60, assume that all nuts are equally beneficial. After all, they're often touted as heart-healthy, high in good fats, and full of protein. But the reality is more nuanced. Some nuts can harbor hidden dangers, especially for seniors with certain health conditions or sensitivities, while others deliver valuable nutrients that can support vitality in later years. In this presentation, we'll discuss 3 nuts doctors warn you should be careful with or avoid altogether, and 3 that can truly help you thrive. If you've been reaching for the same snack mix for years, you may be surprised by what you learn. Small changes in your nut choices could mean a big difference in managing cholesterol, blood pressure, digestion, and overall well-being. Think about Stella, a 68-year-old retiree who spent decades snacking on various nuts without a second thought, mixing them up in her cereal or sprinkling them on salads. Over time, however, she noticed her digestion wasn't as smooth, and routine blood tests showed her cholesterol levels edging up. Her doctor explained that not all nuts are created equal, and that some popular varieties could be doing more harm than good, particularly in an older body that processes fats differently. By swapping out a few risky choices and embracing nuts that offer more nutrient-dense benefits, Stella saw real improvements. Her lab results trended downward, her bloating and digestive discomfort decreased, and she felt more energized overall. Stella's experience underscores the importance of knowing which nuts align with your specific health profile, especially as you get older. Let's dive into why some nuts might cause trouble and which ones can help you age more gracefully. To be clear, this isn't intended as specific medical advice. Everyone's situation is unique, and if you have known allergies, digestive disorders, or metabolic issues, consult a healthcare provider before making big dietary changes. But many doctors have gone on record clarifying that certain types of nuts, especially in large quantities, can pose hidden risks for seniors. Meanwhile, other varieties deliver protective antioxidants, essential fatty acids, and beneficial vitamins or minerals that can help keep your heart, brain, and immune system strong. In other words, it's not about demonizing all nuts or glorifying them blindly. It's about learning to tell the difference between those that truly nurture an aging body and those that might burden it. If you've ever felt confused strolling past the nut aisle, stay with me. We're about to unpack the subtle distinctions that could simplify your choices and possibly enhance your health. Let's begin with a big concern: rancidity and hidden molds in certain nuts. As we age, our immune systems can weaken, making us more susceptible to infections or irritants that younger folks might handle more easily. One problematic category is peanuts, which, while commonly referred to as nuts, are actually legumes. Peanuts often carry a risk of contamination by aflatoxins, toxic substances produced by molds that can grow during storage. Aflatoxins have been linked to liver damage and even cancer in high amounts. For the general population, the occasional peanut snack might not be a crisis, but seniors, particularly those with liver or immune concerns, are more vulnerable. Another point is that peanuts are higher in omega-6 fatty acids compared to some other nuts, and an imbalanced intake of omega-6 to omega-3 can promote inflammation. If you're dealing with arthritis, cardiovascular risk, or autoimmune issues, loading up on peanuts could exacerbate these problems. People also tend to pile on salt with peanuts, further affecting blood pressure, a key concern for older adults. While a handful of peanuts won't necessarily do you in, it might be wise not to rely on them as your daily go-to. If you've loved peanut butter your whole life, consider rotating with other nut butters that are less likely to cause issues. Also, watch out for flavored peanut snacks, as they often contain added sugar, artificial flavorings, or further sodium, any of which can erode your health over time. Another nut that raises eyebrows among some medical professionals is the Brazil nut. Brazil nuts are famous for their extremely high selenium content. Selenium is an essential mineral that supports thyroid function and has antioxidant properties. But the line between enough selenium and too much is quite thin. A single Brazil nut can exceed the daily recommended intake for selenium, and regularly eating several may push you into an overdose territory called selenosis, which can cause symptoms like gastrointestinal distress, hair loss, brittle nails, and nerve damage. Seniors often have a narrower margin for error when it comes to minerals, especially if they're on multiple medications or have kidney or thyroid concerns. While 1 or 2 Brazil nuts occasionally might not be harmful, doctors warn that if you're popping them like candy or adding them daily to your diet without awareness, you risk selenium overload. It's a common misconception that more is always better, but in this case, moderation is crucial. Some older adults also find the high fat content in Brazil nuts tough to digest, potentially leading to GI upset or weight gain if portion sizes aren't monitored. If you enjoy them, treat them more like a potent supplement, a couple of kernels once in a while, rather than a staple handful each day. Macadamia nuts also come up in discussions of nuts that can become problematic for older adults if over-consumed. While macadamias are undoubtedly tasty and do contain heart-healthy monounsaturated fats, they're extremely calorie-dense and can be challenging to digest. Seniors dealing with weight management or certain gastrointestinal sensitivities may find macadamias heavy. Overeating them can drive up daily calories quickly, leading to creeping weight gain that's harder to reverse past 60. Weight gain doesn't merely affect appearance. It can strain joints and aggravate conditions like osteoarthritis or diabetes. While not as commonly contaminated as peanuts, macadamias can still grow rancid if stored improperly, leading to the ingestion of oxidized fats that increase inflammation in the body. The real issue is that many snackers lose track of portion sizes because macadamias have a mild, buttery flavor, making it easy to keep munching beyond what's beneficial. One small handful might be okay, but seniors who frequently snack mindlessly risk putting on extra pounds and burdening their cardiovascular system. Again, it's not that macadamias are inherently poisonous. It's that their specific fat composition and high caloric density can be risky for older adults who aren't mindful of moderation. Now that we've covered 3 nuts doctors often warn about, let's shift to more positive news. Some nuts stand out as super nuts for seniors, delivering a particularly beneficial ratio of healthy fats, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. First up are walnuts, praised for their alpha-linolenic acid, ALA. Omega-3s help counterbalance the high omega-6 content many people get from processed foods, potentially reducing inflammation linked to heart disease, arthritis, and even cognitive decline. Walnuts also contain polyphenols, which can combat oxidative stress, something seniors face more intensively as cells and tissues endure decades of wear and tear. Another advantage is that walnuts have been studied for potential brain-supportive properties, with some research suggesting they may help maintain cognitive function in aging adults. While not a magic cure, walnuts offer a nutrient profile that aligns well with the needs of older bodies. You might add crushed walnuts to oatmeal, toss them into a salad, or even eat a few as a snack. Just be aware that they're still calorie-dense, so a small handful usually suffices. Almonds are another favorite among doctors for older adults, thanks to their high vitamin E content. Vitamin E is an antioxidant crucial for skin health and immune function, both of which can decline with age. Almonds also supply a good dose of magnesium, a mineral many seniors lack, linked to better nerve and muscle function and possibly improve sleep quality. The fiber in almonds supports digestion and can help regulate blood sugar levels, a serious issue for those managing prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. Another plus is that almonds are relatively lower in saturated fat compared to some other nuts, potentially benefiting cholesterol profiles. Some folks worry about the phytic acid in almonds that can limit mineral absorption, but soaking or sprouting them can help address this if it's a concern. Otherwise, a moderate portion of plain, unsalted almonds can be a quick, convenient snack. You can also find almond-based products like almond milk, flour, or butter if you need alternatives to dairy or wheat. Sticking to unflavored, natural options tends to offer the pure benefits without the extra sugar or artificial ingredients. Pistachios round out the trio of super nuts seniors might want to prioritize. Often overshadowed by other types, pistachios pack a strong nutritional punch. They contain lutein and zeaxanthin, antioxidants that support eye health. A critical consideration for anyone worried about macular degeneration or general vision decline. Pistachios are also relatively lower in fat and calories per ounce than many nuts, letting you enjoy a slightly larger portion without blowing your daily calorie budget. Their fiber content encourages healthy digestion, and some studies suggest pistachios can help maintain stable blood pressure and cholesterol. Pistachios also add a bright green color to dishes, reflecting their high chlorophyll content. Another practical benefit is that pistachios often come in shells, which can slow down your eating. That built-in portion control can prevent overindulging. Just note that many commercial pistachios are salted or flavored. For seniors needing to watch sodium intake, unsalted or lightly salted varieties are the smarter pick. You might toss pistachios in yogurt, sprinkle them onto roasted vegetables, or just snack on them as is. The combination of essential nutrients and pleasant taste makes pistachios a top contender when building a senior-friendly nut rotation. We've just looked at 3 nuts doctors often urge caution with: peanuts, technically a legume but commonly considered a nut in the culinary world, Brazil nuts, and macadamias. And 3 nuts that can offer significant benefits: walnuts, almonds, and pistachios. However, don't take this as an absolute ban or a directive to binge on the good ones. The key is balance, moderation, and personal context. For instance, if you're allergic to almonds, they obviously aren't a super nut for you. If you crave a small handful of peanuts occasionally and have no digestive or mold sensitivity issues, that might be okay in limited amounts. If you adore the flavor of macadamias, consider mixing them with other nuts so you don't overdo it. The biggest takeaway is that older adults often deal with narrower health margins. Blood pressure might spike more easily, cholesterol might be trickier to manage, or the immune system might be less forgiving. Tailoring your nut choices to these realities can help you reap the positives without stumbling into unintended downsides. It's also useful to mention the role of portion control. Even the best nuts can sabotage weight management or lead to excessive fat intake if eaten mindlessly. A typical serving size might be around 1 ounce, which, depending on the nut, translates to a small handful, maybe 12 or 14 walnuts. Halves or 20-25 almonds, for example. Because nuts are so calorie-dense, doubling or tripling that portion without noticing can easily stack on hundreds of calories. Some older adults see slow, steady weight gain that intensifies joint pain and circulatory strain. Nuts do have a place in a senior diet, but they should complement a broader, balanced meal plan full of vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and lean proteins. No single food will make or break your health, but a consistent pattern of wise or unwise choices accumulates, especially in the later decades of life. Another factor is how you store nuts. Even the healthiest varieties can turn against you if they go rancid. Because nuts contain delicate oils, exposure to air, heat, or light can degrade their nutritional quality, forming potentially harmful compounds. Seniors with sensitive stomachs or weaker detoxification pathways might be more vulnerable to these negative byproducts. Store your nuts in airtight containers, ideally in the fridge or freezer if you buy them in bulk. If you open a bag and notice a stale or off smell, it's better to discard them. Rancid fats can contribute to inflammation and stress on the liver, exactly what you don't need if you're trying to stay vibrant. And always be mindful of the expiration date or any signs of moisture in the packaging that could signal mold growth. You might also wonder about roasted versus raw nuts. Roasting can enhance flavor, but high-temperature roasting sometimes diminishes certain heat-sensitive nutrients. Worse, it can generate advanced glycation end products, AGEs, that may accelerate aging if consumed excessively. That said, lightly dry roasted nuts at moderate temperatures are often a fair compromise if you dislike raw nuts. If you go for roasted, just watch the salt and check that the packaging doesn't list additives like hydrogenated oils. Some brands coat nuts with less healthy oils or add sugary glazes, turning them into dessert-like snacks. The simpler the ingredients, the safer for your body, especially if you're trying to protect your heart and keep your arteries clear. Since seniors often juggle multiple concerns, blood pressure, blood sugar, arthritis, or even osteoporosis, each dietary tweak can yield ripple effects. The combination of nuts with other healthy foods might further amplify benefits. For example, pairing walnuts with leafy greens and olive oil in a salad can supply a balanced ratio of fats and micronutrients, or sprinkling almonds on oatmeal can add protein and healthy fats that slow carbohydrate absorption, stabilizing blood sugar. Meanwhile, pistachios as a pre-workout snack can offer quick energy without spiking glucose too high. The synergy of these choices can help you maintain a steadier day, physically and mentally. As you incorporate new habits, keep a small journal or mental notes about how you feel. Are your energy levels higher when you switch from peanuts to pistachios? Did your digestion improve after you cut back on macadamias or started storing nuts differently? Changes can be subtle, and not everyone responds identically, but paying attention helps you fine-tune. If something isn't working, say you develop digestive upset from a certain nut, pause or reduce your intake. You might be sensitive to a specific compound in that nut, or it could be an issue of quantity. Being open-minded and willing to adjust is key to finding the sweet spot of enjoying nuts without negative consequences. Let's recap the main points in a plain, cohesive way. Peanuts, really legumes, can hide molds and push an inflammatory omega-6 load if eaten excessively. Brazil nuts risk too much selenium, potentially leading to toxicity if you rely on them heavily. Macadamias, while delicious, pack a calorie wallop and can be tough on digestion. On the flip side, walnuts deliver omega-3s and antioxidants helpful for brain and heart function. Almonds provide vitamin E, magnesium, and cholesterol-friendly properties, and pistachios stand out for their eye-supportive compounds and relatively lower fat. The difference can be stark, especially for seniors who notice how certain foods now affect them more strongly than they did decades ago. Still, don't mistake any single recommendation as absolute. Some older adults might do perfectly fine with modest peanuts or an occasional Brazil nut, especially if their health markers are stable. Others might have unique health conditions that require them to avoid even the so-called super nuts. Ultimately, your personal doctor or a qualified dietitian can offer the best guidance, tailored to you. Nonetheless, these general warnings and endorsements come from a growing body of research on how nuts interact with age challenges like cardiovascular health, immune efficiency, and metabolic stability. It might be tempting to ask, why can't I just skip nuts altogether? Nuts do provide a valuable synergy of protein, unsaturated fats, fiber, and trace minerals that can be hard to replicate. They also tend to be quite satiating, which helps prevent overeating junk foods. Abandoning nuts means potentially missing out on these perks. But if you do choose to avoid them, maybe because of allergies or personal preference, that's a viable option as long as you compensate with other nutrient-dense foods. However, many seniors find that well-chosen nuts enhance their diet variety and satisfaction, making a healthy lifestyle more enjoyable. That can contribute to consistency, a critical factor for success in any long-term health plan. If you're intrigued by the idea of rotating these recommended nuts, consider portioning them out ahead of time, rather than keeping a big jar of mixed nuts on your coffee table, which encourages mindless munching. You could create small snack bags or containers. That way, you know precisely how much you're consuming. Or store them in a less immediately accessible spot, so you have to make a conscious decision to eat a portion. Seniors who do this often say it helps them stay in control. Another idea is to incorporate nuts into meals rather than snacking on them solo. Adding a sprinkle of walnuts to your morning yogurt or a garnish of pistachios on your roasted vegetables can elevate your meal's flavor and nutrient profile without leading to overindulgence. Balancing your ratio of super nuts to riskier ones can also help. If you love peanuts and just can't let go, set a limit, say a once-a-week treat. In between, fill your routine with almonds, walnuts, or pistachios. If you're partial to macadamias, buy smaller amounts. Enjoy them sparingly as a delicacy rather than a daily staple. If you can't handle Brazil nuts responsibly because they're so large and easy to overdo, maybe keep them for rare occasions or skip them altogether. Checking in with your doctor if you're uncertain is always wise, especially if you have thyroid or kidney issues that might be aggravated by certain nuts. In conclusion, doctors warn about peanuts, Brazil nuts, and macadamias for good reasons: potential mold or aflatoxin contamination, risk of excessive selenium, and extremely high calorie density that can lead to weight gain or digestive strain. Meanwhile, walnuts, almonds, and pistachios shine as nutrient-dense options, rich in beneficial fatty acids, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that can align well with seniors' health goals. None of these insights are black and white rules. Your personal situation might differ, but this perspective helps you shop and snack more mindfully, reducing the chance that a well-intentioned handful of nuts undermines your health. With the right choices, you can harness nuts as a force for good, supporting your heart, mind, and overall resilience as you navigate the golden years. Thank you for listening, and if you found these insights useful, consider sharing them with a friend or loved one who might also be uncertain about which nuts to embrace or avoid. Small, informed decisions can lead to a stronger, healthier future. Stay curious, stay balanced, and remember that the path to wellness is built on everyday habits, including the humble act of choosing the right nut.